This is David Kroodsma with Hub Culture. I'm about to join Lord Nicholas Stern, the chair of the Grantham Research Institute on Climate Change and the Environment at the London School of Economics. His time is really tight, so we're just going to ride with him in the car from one event to the next. Lord Stern, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to talk to you.
Apart from the impacts of climate change, you and most economists say that there will be a cost to reducing our carbon emissions. Yet so many of the businesses here are talking about the business opportunity, and you've talked about the new industrial revolution. Are the businesses here just the ones that are going to be the winners from climate legislation, or is there a broader opportunity to the economy?
There's a huge opportunity, and I now prefer to talk much more about investment and innovation and the industrial revolution than simply cost. We will have to make those investments, and we'll have to make big investments, but there'll be investments with tremendous returns. Returns in terms of energy efficiency and energy security, in terms of a cleaner world, quieter world, more safe, and also, of course, biodiversity. So there'll be lots of returns, directly, many of them to the business themselves, but to the world as a whole, from those kinds of investments, as well as, of course, the reduction of risk of climate change that they bring. So the challenge in public policy is to make more of those returns directly visible to investors so that we get investment on the scale that we need. And in particular, to make those dirty activities much more costly so that the cleaner and more positive activities do much better in comparison.
Right. And so when we talk about green jobs, and when climate campaigners talk about using green jobs, that's actually correct. There won't be a loss of other jobs. It won't compensate entirely for green jobs, or?
There'll be some dislocation. I mean, when electric light came in, the whalers and the candle makers had to adjust. And industrial revolutions bring some dislocation. The challenge, of course, is to manage so that you've got real positive, strong growth, so that those who are having to move out of some industries have other industries to move into. If you look at the potential scale of the industrial revolution, there's going to be so many opportunities that, provided we handle ourselves well, that dislocation will be very manageable. But we don't preserve jobs by trying to fossilize them in some way, by trying to preserve those things which are really now dirty and out of date, and which can be replaced and have to be replaced. But we have to manage that industrial revolution with an understanding that those huge opportunities are going to be there. It's a story of growth, it's a story of innovation, it's a story of creativity, it's a story of investment going to the pioneers. We have to do that at the same time as managing the dislocation which will take place in some industries.
You have authored one of the most definitive reports on the economic effects of climate change and shows our real need to act. How do you go about communicating this to the public?
I think we have to show much more strongly than we've done up to now the opportunities and the examples and the new ways of doing things, and why it's not just a burden, that it's a real opportunity, and it's a much more attractive way of consuming and producing. So that positive story of the Industrial Revolution has to get out there, and it has to get out there not only from economists like me, but also and particularly from businesses saying, we've looked at this very hard, we've got the examples, we've got the investments, we could do so much more if the policies were more encouraging. And that doesn't mean, in my book, subsidies, it means taxing those things which are really damaging.
You've spent the last year researching how to get carbon financing right. How do you feel like the negotiations are going at this COP?
This is a COP where we're looking for progress on a number of different strands, rather than an all singing, all dancing, fully articulated international agreement. I think that's a sensible way to go forward. And we're going to go forward, I think, going forward on forests. We're going forward on the monitoring, reporting and verification, and of course, particularly given my involvement in the finance report, I hope we go forward on finance. The ideas which we developed all together, Larry Summers of the US was one of our participants, Christine Lagarde of France, the finance minister, the planning ministers of India and of South Africa. This was a group, straddling the big countries of the world, with a couple of people who don't represent anybody like myself and George Soros and so on. And those ideas were about using revenues from carbon taxes or auction revenues. They're about using revenues from stopping subsidizing fossil fuels and putting them to much better use.
And if we don't get a carbon finance deal here, what can be done in carbon finance in the next few years?
I think the financial institutions around the world, the private financial institutions, we've been hearing a lot from them here in Cancun, the pension funds, the institutional investors, they're seeing that going high carbon, if you have a horizon of 20 years, is a very risky place to go. Low carbon is risky, but getting less risky. High carbon is risky and getting more risky. You're going to see those private investments coming because they recognize that one way or the other, the world's going to have to get there. It's going to be much better for us all if we get there guided by clear, strong policies which tax the really damaging things. That's the way to get there more quickly. So the question is, these investments, will be financed? They will. But will they be financed soon enough? Will they be financed in the best possible ways? And we're in a hurry, and that's why policy is so important. That's why I hope we do get somewhere on climate financing here.
Well, thank you, and I wish you luck with your work.
Pleasure. Nice to talk to you. Thanks very much.